get started? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're good. We're going to open the planning board meeting for September 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. All right, minutes.
Minutes?
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 Anyone?
Yep, got the minutes. Want me to make that motion?
Yeah,
sure.
I'll make that motion, approve the minutes dated 8:09, what is it, 9/10/18? Is that the document date? September 10, 2018. How's that?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You were the second?
Okay. Wayne was the second. All right, Form A plan, or filings, sorry.
We have one filing tonight, 6 Burnap Road Retreat Lot. You've previously approved this retreat lot on Burnap Road. It's just expired, so they're just refiling it. And that'll be heard at your next
Good in you.
regular meeting, which is not until the end of October.
All right, so we just acknowledging that?
Yep, just
So
acknowledge that
acknowledged.
filing.
All right, Form A plans.
Yes, you have a conveyance plan this evening. And, which is right here. All right, so, as soon as that comes up, Mr. George Kowzik, you can see in the locus map, owns a significant amount of land off of Mendon Road. He is taking parcel A from his land, and he's conveying it to the Russell's lot on Mendon Road. So you can see the total area after the conveyance still will not be conforming, but it is not any, it's making it more conforming. So, and it is not creating any nonconformities with Mr. Kowzik's remaining land. So, the only thing we noticed today is if you look at the title block, the owner, that's not his mailing address. Those are all properties Mr. Kowzik owns, but his mailing address is technically 162, so I've asked the surveyor to just correct that. And although the area of the right-of-way does not affect this transaction, the area of that easement should still be on this plan. So it's fine for the board to sign it, it's otherwise compliant, but I would do a motion to endorse once the easement area is noted and the address is corrected. Just minor items.
So this lot still will not conform, but we're headed in the right direction?
Yes, exactly.
Which lot won't conform?
The lot that it's being, parcel A is being added to number 176.
Okay, I had it backwards, okay. Moving in the right direction makes sense to me now, okay. The writing's so small, even with my glasses, my cheaters, I can't.
I'll make a motion to approve that conveyance once the items we discussed are corrected.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Five zero. All right. 61, correspondence, 61A release, 211 Boston Road.
211 Boston Road, this is a 9.4 acre parcel. It is shown on this map. It will look familiar to you because this is the one you saw the preliminary yield plan for the open space subdivision. So this is the chapter 61A release of that parcel.
61B.
All right, 61B release of that parcel. So B is recreation, open space? Okay, thank you. So 61B release, so you just need to say whether you recommend the town use its first right of refusal and buy this, and the $280,000 is the price for this land, or you recommend that the town pass over its first right of refusal, and why you would recommend they pass over it.
Well, do you have any comments? thoughts?
No, I'm not sure the town needs to pursue this.
All right, Wayne?
I don't think the town would own it.
Mary?
Pass over it.
Pass over. Bob?
I can't imagine a use for a way for the town to use it.
All right, I feel the same. So with that, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we recommend that the town pass over on the 61A release of 211 Boston Road.
61,
Second.
I'm just gonna correct that to 61B. If that's okay?
Thank you. Paying attention.
Wally's second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Okay, and you have another 61 release. And Nick, is this a 61A or B? This is Calzik's land that we just talked about. 61A release. So this is $5,800 for that parcel A you just saw. That is going from 156 to 176.
All right,
Make a motion, we pass over.
I'll second it
second.
for the same reason I think we should pass over the stuff on Boston Road.
I agree with Bob.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Okay.
Okay, I have one thing I want to talk about as far as
Yes.
the shrubbery.
Oh,
There you go. Shrubbery?
Yep.
There you go.
So we got a complaint that the bushes were very high. They were probably about a foot taller than me at one point down at Market 32, where you cross over from Market
Oh,
32 to Unibank. So we recommended they trim them, but so they have, and now you can definitely see much better. But these shrubs grow quite a bit, and these have been trimmed quite significantly.
This belongs with the A&R plan.
Thank you, Mr.
The
Kalzik.
surveyors just brought it to me.
You're all set.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care.
So my overall concern is that, or my recommendation is that we remove, on the Market 32 side, remove the 4 bushes past the stop sign, because right now, if those bushes grow, because they seem to grow pretty quickly.
So these, which, on the
On the
right-hand
right
side?
side, there's like 4 bushes right there, you see
Okay.
them?
Mhm.
So when the stop sign is back beyond where you can see to the right, and when you pull in,
Mhm.
just one conversation, please. One conversation. So you have to pull up in order to be able to see this. And when the cars are coming off the highway, there's no stop sign there. So when you're coming across that intersection, it's you have to really creep up. Now it's been trimmed and you can see now, but those bushes grew very fast and they were taller. I would say they were about a foot taller than me at some point. So my recommendation is we pull out the 4 just past the stop sign on the Market 32 side, and we pull out the 2, those 4 right there, and then on the other side corner, those 2 at the end there, beyond that tree. And I think, and replant something that's only gonna grow like a couple feet. That would be my recommendation. So I just wanna get input from the board, but it's really kind of a tough corner, and those plants grow quite large pretty quick. So it's gonna be, like, they've done what we've asked, but I think it will be a maintenance issue going forward.
Where's the stop sign?
It's to the right of that picture, so you can't see it here.
On,
Oh, right there? Oh, no.
No.
That's a different image.
so you drive into that opening, go right or left? I haven't been there yet.
Bob.
I probably won't go there, but.
So the stop sign is back over here, and so when these bushes are at their full height, you have to pull all the way up here and stick your nose out in order to see the cars coming through here, because they have the right of way. So the bushes were probably up to about the top of that sign.
Yeah.
Oh, there's your stop sign.
Yeah.
It is right
Yep.
Yeah, it's way
It's
over
way
there.
over here.
See it?
Can't move the stop sign.
No. Even still, if you did, you'd still have, these bushes are so high you wouldn't even be able to see, so,
Yeah, they're in a bad spot.
yeah. So, they're short now and you can see now, but like I said, they grew within a year to, as high, probably that tall.
So why,
So I'm recommending we pull those out and put another planting there that doesn't grow as high, so that there's not a maintenance concern.
Mm-hmm.
why put anything there?
Well, I think it'd be,
Put the bushes someplace else and mission accomplished.
Put
I think we could do
daylilies.
something that's a low-growing plant. but-
Yeah, you can do some perennials or something that stay down there.
And then also, there's 2 bushes right here that I recommend pulling out as well, beyond this tree. So that when you're coming out here, you don't have to creep out in order to see,
As well.
so. So they did a pretty quick job in getting it trimmed, but I just feel that those things grew so fast.
Did you recommend a place to put the bushes and they pull them out?
You can go over to phase 3.
Yeah, they were talking about
Phase
putting them over
three.
phase 3.
Yeah.
So I just need to give them, so I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts. Are everybody pretty
I
comfortable
wanna
with that
suggest
plan?
no bushes. I don't want, if that's the case, I'm,
You put
not
it-
that I'm opposed to green things, if that's the case, then just make it, if safety is our concern,
Yeah.
just put some mulch down and keep the weeds down.
Maybe some
Why-
flowers or
Why
something.
plant any,
Yeah, perennials,
plant
like a
anything?
daylily
Put
or,
Juniper or something in there that won't get that tall either.
Yeah,
No.
all right.
no bush.
okay, so the majority of the board, there's 1, don't plant anything, and I see 4, just something that stays low, like a flower or something else, or
Yes.
juniper.
Now that we've attacked, the problem on a public or private site, how about the town roads? We ought to be doing the same thing all around town.
I agree,
Careful.
we're working on it.
That's why I don't think we should have anything. It could have repercussions.
All right.
All right. So,
Do a vote or just a?
no, I just
That's
wanted to
just-
get a straw poll.
Okay.
You don't need to vote on that, but I just wanted to make you aware of it and just my overall recommendation if you were comfortable with it.
Thank you, John.
All right, next is 705 site plan review waiver, Blackstone Valley National.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Mark Donahue on behalf of Blackstone National. What you have before you is a request to waive site plan approval for the construction of a permanent building to replace the seasonal tent that you may be aware of is down at Blackstone and was part of the original site plan that was approved by this board many moons ago. The building gets a little bit bigger than the tent, but doesn't get bigger as far as capacity is concerned. It's the same number of people. It's bigger, so it has some storage and some working space in it as far as the footprint's concerned, but it's fairly minor as far as anything's concerned. It's just beyond to the north of the location of the tent physically, so it's quite a distance from the public way. As you may be aware, it's quite an elevation difference also going down the hill to the location, so really can't see much of it. It's not changing the parking, it's not changing the nature of the use in any kind of fashion. It's just taking what's become a difficult seasonal structure to deal with a tent and making it biting the bullet and do it at once on a permanent basis. So we think it meets all the requirements for a waiver of site plan review, and would ask the board to do that. Site plan review we'd be asking for a whole bunch of waivers from that, because just to meet the plan requirements, the site itself is 263 acres, so trying to come up with a site plan for all of that with the elevation requirements and everything else, we'd have quite a list of waivers if we had to go through the exercise. It's late in the year, so I certainly wouldn't say we're gonna do it, but there's at least a shot that we can get the work going, at least in the basis this fall, to get it up and operating quickly in 2019 season. So that's the request. I'd be glad to answer any questions. Michael Gordon is the principal of Blackstone, is here to answer any questions you may have also.
You do have in your possession, the application materials contain the application. They contain a layout of where the new building would be located on the site, as just described by Attorney Donahue. They also include 2 architectural renderings, and this afternoon I put in your files materials submitted via email by Mr. Gordon, which if I can pull them, I will pull them, and that show photographs of the type of structure Mr. Gordon is anticipating building. So post and beam,
It's a post and beam, 40 by 80 assembly area, which is the exact same assembly area that we currently have with the tent. Just the weather and my customers, and you guys have been my customers probably over the past 20 years. You know, when you get rain like we've had this year and years past, it becomes pretty difficult, to say the least. And nothing worse than having customers that are upset that there's water running through the tent or whatever. It's a pretty good tent, but you know, a tent's still a tent. And we're not looking for any more capacity or anything like that. We're just looking to put a fixed structure over my customers' heads as opposed to the tents that's not so attractive. And I think it would just be a great addition to the facility that Blackstone is for the town. And it's high time I did something like this, so we're trying to work towards that goal.
Good, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Thank you for coming in and asking. Unfortunately, people do this stuff without asking, so I want you to know that, as one board member, we appreciate you.
Robert, you've been around a while, so.
Appreciate you doing it right, and I can't imagine why I would want site plan review. It's, you've stood the test of time, we're happy to have, it's been good to have you in town, and I want your customers to be happy, so. I can't imagine why we would ask for site plan review.
I have to agree, and I think it's a lovely addition to your property. I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much, appreciate that.
Wayne?
Yeah, I am in favor of the waiver. Can you just, if Jen will go back to the picture, where does the additional 1,200 feet fall in that building?
Beyond
it's
where
actually,
the tent was.
So I gave you some artistic renderings. So this is just a porch, just to keep people covered, that overlook 13, if you guys play the golf course. 13's right here. So this is literally just a covered patio, if you will. And that there is the additional space I'm looking for to get rid of that really ugly building and that really ugly building. And we need to add another one of those. And then there's a outdoor cooler here that's even uglier than the two trailers. So we're trying to take that, another one of those, that, and put it inside, so it's
Build them
really
inside.
unsightly, and it's attractive, and the golfers like it, you know, we like it. It's just a much more organized way of doing business. And I can finally get out of this temporary mode after 20 years.
so that's a 40 by 30 bump out.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. So, like I said, everything can kind of go in here. This is, like I said, just a covered patio. This is the 40 by 80 structure that we currently use, and the assembly area is the exact same size. We're not looking for any additional anything in terms of the assembly area that we're currently permitting for.
All right.
I'm in favor of this, and thank you for coming in. And I'm glad to see that we're going from a temporary structure to a more
I
permanent
figured that
one.
would be, you know, for everybody, I've been here for 25 years, I figured for everybody that's been in that tent, they're like, when's Michael gonna finally do something with this? Time is-
Been there.
Yes, I know you have.
All right, yeah, same here, I'm full support of it, I think it's a great idea, and, makes sense to, you know, grant an approval to not have to do the, site plan review,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
so.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion that we, no?
Yes. Attorney Donahue has done you the favor of listing 5 reasons why the site plan waiver may be appropriate in the paperwork. So I would ask that you read those 5 reasons, and that when you make your motion to grant the waiver, you include any of those reasons you think are appropriate and or all of them in your findings to grant the waiver as well as any appropriate conditions. And I have two I would recommend, two conditions. Standard condition number 1, which is approval of all other applicable departments, boards, and committees. And condition number 2, we have kind of a, not a really a final rendering there, so I would suggest that the final architectural and any landscaping needs to be submitted, for final approval before the building permit, so. Just not site plan approval, just to the board.
That's fine.
So those are two conditions I would recommend.
In addition to those two, the reasons why the waiver should be granted is, let me see where I can start here.
Letter A is where he starts explaining.
Right, it will be approximately the same location as the existing tent, 80 feet farther north from the existing clubhouse. Number 2, it will add 2,000 square feet to the tent's existing footprint.
Should be 1,200.
1,200, I'm sorry. And the sole purpose of the additional square footage is for storage and workspace, not for assembly. It will be used for the same purpose as the existing tent, gathering people who eat and commune together. Number 4, will maintain the same seating capacity as the tent. And number 5, will not be visible from public ways or abutting properties. And in conclusion, the proposed structure seeks to create a more permanent structure for the same purposes and in the same general location as the existing tent, and will alleviate weather-related issues that arise.
So for those reasons, you're making a motion to grant the waiver with conditions?
Second.
And would those be the two conditions that I already stated?
You have to plus this, yeah?
With two conditions are largest. Okay, second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Mark.
Opposed? 5-0.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thanks, you guys. Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Take care.
Just briefly, for the record, I just wanted to note that Wally is acting as a full member in place of Scott Paul, who is not here this evening. I just wanted to point that out in case anybody was wondering what's going on.
All right. Public hearing. Scenic Road, 382 West Sutton Road.
We have the applicant for 382 West Sutton Road present. We do not have the applicant for 382 West Sutton Road present. Well, we can look at the plans.
Table that. Well,
Or we
we're
can.
past 7:20,
So
so
just
let's
table it
table
and
that.
come back
Let's
to it?
work on the
Solar?
Chris, are you ready?
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay, let's go back. So this is a continuation.
It
of
is.
The site plan review for Sutton Solar LLC, 25 Oakhurst Road.
Good evening, thank you. On behalf of the applicant who's with me here this evening, Steve O'Connell, Manager of Survey and Engineering. As a quick update, as I get set up here, we were here 2 weeks ago. And the night after we were here, we went to Northbridge where we obtained their approval. Planning board voted, subject to conditions such as technical review, completion, so, which we have. Both towns agreed that review by Graves Engineering would be adequate, which we received their review comments. The comments essentially to the project and the plans looked good. There were a couple of odds and ends, a north arrow on one of the sheets. Construction entrance, stabilized construction entrance, so minor items as far as we're concerned. So we provided peer review response letter, which addressed some of Jen's initial memo comments and also a few outstanding items from Graves. We have revised plans ready to go. We typically would try to get those submitted, but given the nature of the minor comments from Graves and any final input from the board, tonight, dropping those on you tonight and ask you to look at those and say that they're okay. Wouldn't really be fair to you, but we feel as though the items were very minor, and you typically would sign a final plan set anyway. Those items could be added to that final plan set prior to your endorsement. But that being said, happy to go over as much or as little as you like. There were no revisions to the project plans, design from a wholesale standpoint. Still entering over here by the existing project, coming in parallel to Oakhurst Road, where we will enter in a fence which completely encloses this new project. And then if you recall, these are tracking panels, so that's why they're oriented in a north-south direction.
I just have a question about that. Do those track both horizontally and vertically, or just
Just horizontally east-west.
so they don't turn? They just stay in that position, but they're just going. Which
That's
way do they
right.
go?
Yeah, so yeah, they're kind of oriented north-south, so they'll track east to west. Yep.
It's a single axis tracker.
Yep.
I saw that.
Yeah, so they're not like on top of a dome that'll, adjust the time of year and
They
sun.
won't.
No,
No.
right, it's just a single axis east-west tracker.
All right.
I should also inform you that we received negative determinations of applicability from both towns' conservation commissions, which means that they feel as though we are not in their jurisdictional area, and they have no reason to believe that we need to pursue additional permitting with them. So this is essentially our final stop, and like I said, we can go over. We did also submit a waiver request based on Jen's review memorandum, and that waiver has to do with this site access driveway being within the front building setback. There's no panels or fence in the building setback. It's just that this site access drive, because we're utilizing this existing entrance and not proposing any more inlets into the project site, we're just coming here parallel to Oakhurst Road and then up and into the facility. We looked back at our records, something we may have all missed was a waiver for some things in the first phase, or maybe at that time in 2014. The interpretations of things could be a little bit different, but regardless, we've requested that waiver. It's only access, said no panels or fence are in the setback. So I've submitted that, and point-by-point responses to comments. So I don't think I necessarily made it aware to you at the last meeting, just as you requested in the first project, where all fence that is visible from Oakhurst Road be black vinyl coated. We proposed that from the outset here, so we have black vinyl coated along the street side and up the west side here, and then on the back, and then along this side would be galvanized where it's not visible.
You could be upgrading the plantings, the existing plantings that are there.
Yes, that's probably the most important item. The revised plans that I have ready to submit, depending on anything that needs to be added following tonight's meeting, has an entire row of Leland cypress, the species that was actually planted. The tags are still there. I went and I cut a tag, and I sent it to Alice and said, this is something we're gonna have to make sure on this phase gets addressed. I don't know why they didn't grow. They're healthy. They look healthy.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, we're gonna try to dig one up and make sure there wasn't any mess up with the planting, so we can avoid that issue the second go around.
Right. The burlap was just not cut off the root ball.
Yeah.
Because they will stay healthy for a while in those conditions. It's just they may not grow, but they're definitely not growing despite being healthy.
Are they appropriate? Because I know that site's pretty gravelly, right?
It is, but
Yeah.
those are good conditions for Leland cypress. Full sun, acidic soil, sandy soil conditions in this zone of the country, and we've had them on a number of projects where they've really just taken off. So since the ones that are there are healthy, we thought it'd be best to keep them, and then we've got a row, staggered row behind them at 15-foot spacing, which is a recommended spacing of that species. It'd be something that obviously it's enforceable, it's in the permit, so it'd be something that, they'll stand behind. And Nexamp, as we've stated, you know, they own and operate all of their facilities and assets, so, you know, you're not gonna have to chase down some company on the other side of the world to wanna know why the cypress shrubs aren't growing. They're here to stay, so,
All right. Any questions from the board? From the public? All right, so let's tackle the waiver and approve that, or deny it, whatever you feel, but can you review the waiver for us in detail so we can,
so, section 4B,
you went and talked about that, right, as far as the road?
yep,
All right.
exactly.
Yeah, so you don't have to go through that.
Okay.
Anybody have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right.
Second, let's just have a discussion.
So the only thing that's in that setback is the access driveway. Everything else is behind it, right?
Right, I mean, there's some poles, but those aren't necessarily stated. Your bylaw specifically says parking, you know, the building items, which would be the fence and the panels and other equipment, are all compliant. There's overhead poles, just like there are on this project, but primarily it's the access, which your bylaw specifically says, parking, maneuver, and driveway shall not be located within the applicable front, side, and rear setbacks in the E2, industrial, and OLI districts. So we're requesting a waiver that the site drive, no parking, it's just the site drive.
If you can just outline, as part of the board's finding, how you're mitigating the fact that you're in that setback. So you've got something in the setback, but how are you mitigating it so we don't see it, or?
Yep, so in my request, I do elaborate a little bit that the intent of the bylaw is met, you know, for visual purposes, by some of the existing. There are some very robust, white pines here. There are the shrubbettes, and then the proposed plantings behind that row that we feel as though will mitigate the potential visual impacts from the site drive running parallel with Oakhurst Road.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion from the concerns from the public? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. All right. Do we have a motion to improve the installation?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Here's the conditions.
And the conditions are in my memo.
Okay. I'll go down them one by one. If anyone has a problem, they'll say something, otherwise we'll move forward. The minimal conditions, for approval, we want the approval of all other local, state, and federal authorities and bodies. Prior to endorsement of the site plan, reference to this site plan approval shall be entered upon the plans. Prior to endorsement of the site plan, notes shall include a provision for replacement of the dead and diseased plantings within a month of discovery, or if not, in the planting season, they will be replaced at the start of the next planting season, as well as removal of staking at the conclusion of 1 year. Prior to endorsement of the site plan, notes shall include provisions to maintain the access driveway year-round to provide safety, vehicle access, and all amenities such as fencing, etc., in good and working condition. Prior to any clearing, the limit of the clearing shall be staked, and a representative of the planning board shall verify the limits with a representative of the applicant and the clearing contractor. Prior to commencement of construction, the applicant will be required to provide an up-to-date estimate for full decommissioning of the site, as well as execute a security agreement and provide decommissioning security in a form acceptable to the planning board. The board reserves the right to review the total amount of surety in 5, 10, in 15 approximate years, and require additional funds should variables such as inflation, salvage value, etc., require an increase.
Do you mind if I jump in?
No, not at all.
So we're still going with the decommissioning plan that we submitted though originally. I believe it was 11,000 divided between both towns for commercial operation.
I believe so, but now you have more panels, so you would think that your price has gone up. So you can either reestablish surety agreements with both town and a new amount for the whole installation, including the new install,
Yeah.
or you keep the old agreement in place for the old megawatts and then put a new agreement in place for the additional megawatts.
Okay.
So, but the format we did the first one in is fine.
Okay.
You just need to, last time we established that, because you gave us a decommissioning estimate that we verified it looked good.
Yep.
So you do the same thing. Decide how you want it, but you give us a decommissioning estimate either for that new additional amount or for the whole thing,
Right.
and then we'll go from there.
And we'll do that, obviously, I think when we move to construction, we know exactly
Yep.
how,
That's fine. That just will need to be in place before you start construction.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Number 7, prior to issuance of a building permit, the owner, applicant, operator shall supply the planning board with copies of the following: site control, documentation of control of the project site sufficient to allow for construction and operation of the polar photovoltaic installation, and B, utility approved, evidence that the utility company that operates the electrical grid has approved the planned solar photovoltaic installation. Copy of interconnected customer-owned generator agreement shall be provided. Prior to issuance of the building permit, the applicant engineer shall submit 3 complete prints of the endorsed site development plan. 1 50% reduced prints and 1 electronic copy to the Sutton Planning Office. A Knox box shall be installed at the gate as approved by Sutton and Northbridge Fire Departments and shall contain a fully knowledgeable contact list for the site as well as the appropriate system information for emergency response. Any illumination, including security lighting, shall be arranged so as to reflect away from abutting properties and be directed in a manner to limit light trespass. Number 11, prior to startup of the facility, the site engineer shall submit an as-built plan and written certification that the site has been constructed substantially in accordance with the plans approved by the planning board. Prior to startup of the facility, the owner, applicant, operator shall provide the fire department with training and knowledge necessary for first responders to this location, including a walkthrough of the entire site in consultation with the fire chief. And prior to startup of the facility, the owner, operator shall provide the police department with security information and keys, etc. for site access. And the board reserves the right to review site landscaping and require additional plantings to achieve intended screening.
Photovoltaic was nice, a lot of people messed that up.
I have a second.
I have a second. I have 2 quick questions. The Knox box, they requiring a second one for this location, or is it gonna be used with the same one that's there?
So there's separate access, so there's existing access through a gate here that has a Knox box on it, and then this access gate into this facility, since it will be divided by a fence, will have its own Knox box, but the same make and model of Knox box that the fire department requires, so they'll have the same access.
And then there's a condition for lighting, is there actually any lighting on the site?
There's no lighting proposed, but if that were to change for
Covered.
reasons, would only be for security.
If any kind of problem crops up, then you can put it in and it's covered.
Any other questions?
No.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Thank
Motion to close hearing?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Okay,
Thank you.
We'll write that up in the next few days and get it on file.
All right.
I can't believe we did one.
Oh, yeah. Huh? Yeah, just to remind me. All right,
So next is public hearing for scenic road, 382 West Sutton Road.
I was just checking why, the applicant might not be here, and I'm wondering, I thought there was an attorney involved here, and I'm wondering if the attorney got notified and not the applicant, or the applicant got notified and not the attorney. Normally we notify both, but I can't find that. I did find verification that all the abutters were notified. If you want, I can go over it. If you want, we can continue it. The next meeting's not for almost a month, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna sit, I think I'm okay with opening the hearing and pushing it out. I don't wanna spend time going through it without the person here. Ask questions and then also understand our concerns, like making sure that the rocks and the stones end up, you know, properly rebuilt and all that. I think that's pretty essential to this, so.
Okay. All right, so,
Recommendation is we'll open the hearing and then we'll continue it.
sounds good.
All right, so I'll open the hearing. In accordance with the provisions of Article 15 of the Sutton General Bylaw, Scenic Roadway, the planning board will hold a public hearing on the application of Stephen Leffler, 11 Stone School Road, Sutton, Mass, for land at 382 West Sutton Road. The applicant requests permission to shift an existing opening in the stone wall at this location to the proposed driveway location. The existing break would be filled with stones from the new break in the same manner as the existing wall construction. The hearing will be held in the third floor meeting room at the Town Hall on Monday, September 24th, 2018, 7:10 p.m. A copy of the plans and applications will be inspected in the office of the town clerk during normal office hours. And one thing I'd just like to also ask the applicant, if you can communicate with them, is that I'd like pictures that actually show the condition of the wall. I think I couldn't see, I think I can only see the area.
Okay. So, I just wanna look at,
Let's just double check, but I think when I
Look at
glance.
that.
The wall in that area is covered with vines and
Yeah.
brush and stuff like that.
oops.
So I don't know if they can kinda peek a camera in there and give us some sort of, it is completely covered. That'll just help us make an assessment of like the quality of the wall.
Okay,
I don't know if that's possible, it's really covered, but
yeah.
do the best I can.
Yeah, you have little sections that peek out, but not big ones. Okay, so, it would be a motion to continue to 7:20 on 10/22.
I'll make that motion to continue the date and time.
second.
Any further discussion?
I have a question.
Mhm.
Historical Commission get involved with something like this?
I believe they actually did look at this one, and I thought we got a response from them that they didn't have any concerns. Sorry,
Nothing in the packet.
I didn't see anything in the package.
if there wasn't anything in the packet, I might have gotten a call or an email, so I'll double check on that, but yeah, I believe the Historic Commission did actually look at this. So I'll make sure if they gave me response that I get that to you.
Thank you.
Historic Commish, yes.
All right, all those, I'm gonna call for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
7:45, good job.